That's 40 and 50 is 90.
Yep.
Ryan, what is that total? $180. Our Ryan Swihart. He's got it figured out. He's working. Oh, he's got a calculator
he likes
over there.
His camera, not his math.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Weekly Travel Alert. I'm Steve Glenn.
I'm Paul Glenn.
Paul, this week there's a lot of things going on with the airlines and their baggage fees and all the things that are happening with adding more cost to your travel. We're going to cover everything you wanted to know. What do they call that book of dummies? The
Baggage for Dummies?
Yeah. We're going to cover everything of what it costs to check your bags in, what you should do, and we're going to give you tips on how you can avoid those baggage fees. So you want to stay with us on this journey. We're going to start off with the Weekly Traveler. Of course, it's sponsored by Executive Travel, and we have been doing this now, 5 or 6 months, haven't we?
Yeah.
So
might actually be getting better.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Ryan's not looking at us with a thumbs up or anything.
You know, we look better on our radio program. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a radio program on 1499.3 KLIN Radio in Lincoln. You can go on the web and get our radio program. It runs from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. every Saturday morning. And that's been fun to do.
It's called Executive Travel Talk.
Executive Travel Talk. And we have more time to talk, so it's a lot of fun.
Yep. We can expand on these things.
Tell some jokes and stuff, and talk about my basketball shooting and all that.
The block shot.
The block shot.
Yeah.
And now we're going to turn to the Weekly Traveler. You ready to go?
Let's go.
The first headline reads, with airline baggage fees going up, should you look into sending your luggage by Fedex or UPS? Paul, for years I've been saying this airline baggage fees, they just went up $5. They're $40 now for the first bag, $50 for the second bag. Ladies and gentlemen, you can spend...
That's on American announced it first, and then United followed up the next day.
Right.
But Delta hasn't yet, as of right now.
They still have luggage fees or baggage fees, but they're not as high as American and United. So if think about it, 40 for your first one, 50 for your second one, that's one way. Then you got to come home. That's 40 and 50 is 90.
Yep.
Ryan, what is that total? $180. Our Ryan Swihart. He's got it figured out. He's working. Oh, he's got a calculator
he likes
over there.
His camera, not his math.
Thanks. Ryan Swihart's joining us today. He's our technical. He's on the keyboard, but he's not a pianist. So with that, you know, one of the things that we talked about is I went and looked at the FedEx site and said, what would it cost me to ship my bag to New York City and different cities around the world? And basically it's $5 or $10 more than what you're paying with the airlines.
The hassle factor and the time.
Yeah, who wants to schlep their luggage to the airports, have to wait 45 minutes to get it when you get to your destination, to wait for it on the carousel down in the luggage claim?
If I was a 5-star hotel, I'd be promoting that.
You bet.
Let us have your clothes pressed and hanging in your closet when you get here.
Now we're talking.
There's opportunity to take service to the next level and let the airlines drive people to go a different direction.
That's a great idea, Paul. I think we ought to jump on that. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see an increase in that. And what we're seeing is I think they've reached very close to, Paul, I call the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Point,
because if they go up any more, you're going to see a massive tidal wave to using alternative methods of getting your luggage there.
Yeah, and years ago there was a movement towards that, trying to get it so that they could you could ship your stuff, and then with the COVID slowdown, all those companies I think disappeared. But I would assume that this will be what gets that reinvigorated to come up with some of those alternative options.
You bet. Paul Glenn, who's the CEO of Executive Travel. I'm Steve Glenn, the chairman. We've got with us Ryan Swihart, who's our trusty technician, making sure that we sound good, look great.
Trying to make us look great.
Yeah, well, I think that's
There's only
the
so much he can do.
Yeah. We do much better on radio, Paul. With
faces for radio.
Faces for radio. Hey, the second headline in this week's Weekly Traveler reads, now is the year that you need to take only a carry-on for your next trip. Ladies and gentlemen, for years I've been saying, you are crazy to do checked luggage. Just do carry-on. Now, that's all I do, Paul.
That's all you've done forever.
Yeah, and literally I can get 9 or 10 days out of a checked bag. Of course, I only have to have one pair of shoes. I pretty much can do one pair of shoes. I usually take 5 pants, 5 shirts, of course, the whole gamut for underwear. And then I literally sometimes wash halfway through, 5 days into my trip, and I'm all the way home. If you think about it, if you're spending $180 for luggage,
That's a lot of laundry.
that's a lot of laundry. You can pay for a hotel to clean all of your stuff and not have the hassle. Plus, you don't have to worry about lost luggage. You were talking about that earlier. And worry about connecting flights and where your luggage get there. Do you have to wait an hour? I've waited an hour for my luggage at an airport years ago.
We had a new employee start 3 weeks ago, and he was flying in, and I picked him up at the airport, or I was waiting for him. I was waiting for him to text me because he was flying in on a Sunday. So I was sitting down here at our building waiting for the text message. He texted me when he landed, and I sat for almost an hour, and I was waiting for him, and I was like, everything okay? And he lives in Denver, Colorado. He flew Denver to Lincoln, and somehow they lost his bag.
Oh, my gosh.
One segment, and couldn't get it right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you need to do carry-on only in 2024. That needs to be your resolution for 2024. I will only do carry-on luggage.
And you only have to maintain that now for 10 months.
That's right.
We're already into March.
You get 2 months
so
free.
If you failed all your other resolutions, here's a chance for a shorter one.
All right. This is the Weekly Traveler. We send out 100,000 emails every Tuesday, and Friday you send out the Travel Weekend Review to about 100,000 people. This is the third headline of this week's Weekly Traveler. It reads, "Here are the easiest ways to get around paying for baggage fees if you're stubborn and want to check in a bag."
The airlines aren't going to like us for these.
No, we're gonna tell you how you don't have to pay those
they made
baggage fees.
$7 billion in baggage fees last year.
Yeah, $7 billion.
So that's a big number.
So, number one, you can become a member of their frequent flyer program.
And then if you get status, I mean, you still have to fly and earn that entry-level status, but once you earn some of that status, then you can get. So that's not without some sort of commitment.
You bet. The second way is, of course, a credit card. Every airline makes more money on their credit cards than they do flying you. So if you get their credit card, usually you'll get a status, which will allow you to not have to pay that fee. And you can get some cards are free, some are $69. And those are the things that, which reminds me, we ought to remind our listeners and watchers today that there's still the best deal.
The Southwest Airlines companion opportunity, free companion.
The best travel deal of the year.
Yeah, and all you got to do is go sign up for one of their credit cards. If you don't have one, that was one thing that was pointed out to us by Brian on our team, is he already had one, so he has to cancel it and wait till next time around that they hopefully do this so he can get it again. But
so you have to pay $69. They have 4 cards. One of them is $69 a year. But for $69 a year, and if you
have to spend $4,000 within the
90
first
days.
3 months.
Right.
And if you do that, then you get 30,000 bonus miles, which on Southwest, if you find tickets for 7,500 miles each way, that's 2 round-trip airline tickets.
Plus,
you get that companion pass.
So the companion pass works this way. I buy a ticket from Omaha to Phoenix, and I want to take a companion with me.
Ryan wants to go golfing.
He wants to go golfing, yeah. And if I want to take a companion with me, if my ticket costs $400, that person travels for free. Now that we got to pay the taxes, which are like $5 or $10. But basically, if you do that 6 times a year at $400, that's $2,400. That's a great deal.
It's a great value.
Yeah, and that's why that's going to end on what, the 11th of March?
March 11th is the last day you can sign up for it, and then when you do qualify, you get that companion pass. Is valid through February 28th of 2025.
So basically a year.
You get almost a year.
Yeah, so that's another way to get around.
And Southwest doesn't have bag fees. So since we're focused on bags, at Southwest, they don't charge you for bags as it is.
You bet. And of course, we just talked about just do carry-on. Don't mess with the check bags. That's the best way to mess with all this. Now, number 4 on this week's Weekly Traveler reads, warning, buying the lowest price basic economy seat for international flight to Europe could cost you a bundle. Paul, I did the numbers. You buy a basic economy, you got to pay $75 each way for the first bag, $100 for the second bag. For a round trip, you'll pay $350. So let's say you got a $1,000 ticket to Europe, okay, and you're going there in April, and you bought basic economy.
And regular economy was probably $1,200.
Yes, so you basically are going to pay more by paying less.
Yep.
So that $1,000, add $350 to it, you paid $1,350. Whereas if you'd paid normal economy at $1,200, you wouldn't be paying for that. You would get that first bag free for sure. And then, so what I tell people is, for international travel, you can't do that basic economy. That just doesn't make sense because most people take a piece of luggage internationally.
Well, and also with basic economy, you don't get a seat.
Yeah.
So, with the economy, you get bags can be taken care of, but you get an assigned seat where you don't have an assigned seat until a day or two before if you get that basic economy.
That's why people go on to Google Flights, which I use a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll find that cheap fare, and then they'll go on and say, well, that cheap fare was $800, but that was basic economy, and if I really want to do this, I'm going to pay $150, $200 more,
Mm-hmm.
so I get the amenities of luggage and seat assignments, and I don't waste my money because if you use basic economy, you don't get any credit toward a future ticket as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't be, what do they call that? Penny wise and pound foolish. That's it. Penny wise and pound foolish. Don't mess with basic economy fares. Next headline this week on the Weekly Travel Alert, Paul. We've been doing this now for 38 years. Our 38th year comes into play in December of this year. And we're having a lot of fun. We started the radio program on 1400 99.3 KLIN radio on Saturdays at 10 o'clock. Now we do this podcast. Now we find that on YouTube. Where's that on YouTube? What's it under?
Our name on YouTube is Executive TRVL. So it's we weren't able to get it spelled out, so you got to just go in and do the abbreviated Executive TRVL.
And so then you'll see us on the YouTube channels. We're on Spotify and all the music, Apple Music and all those things. And so please do all the things that you can see to listen to our radio program, our podcast. We'll try to keep it fun and so that you can learn ways to save money, make your travel easier. We get the fun of telling you how. And Paul, we were talking this morning how you and I are blessed. We get to share people's best moments in their lives, their anniversaries, their birthdays, the times they get to travel with their family.
It's the honeymoons.
The
It's
honeymoons.
going to see grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
It's all the things that are where memories are made. I mean, that's the best thing I think about travel is you learn. But that's also the memories. It's the things you talk about. We were just with a group last night that, you took some over to Italy. I'd been over to Italy with some of them. And you come back together and it's like you were just there yesterday.
Yeah.
Because you go right back to what that experience was. And that's what I think makes it so fun is those permanent memories are embedded. And then when you see the people that you had those experiences with, it's just so invigorating to be able to relive those memories.
The next headline in this week's Weekly Traveler deals with overweight baggage, and it reads, never, never, never check on a bag that weighs over 50 pounds. The airlines will zing you, Paul, $100 for bags over 51 pounds, and a whopping $200 if you go over 71 pounds. So it doesn't pay to have overweight baggage when you check that in.
And I think that probably goes back to number one is if you know you're going to have something larger, because they also do it by size, or something
Sure.
heavier, check out your alternative options.
And you bet. So, and then if you're talking about golf bags and you're
Your
taking
skis, your golf clubs, all those types of things, then yeah.
You might as well rent them,
Ryan, what
right?
was the name of the site you mentioned for golf clubs?
Shipsticks.
Shipsticks. So that's a fun play off of something else, it sounds like.
I have no idea. I didn't brand it.
Okay. Well, once again, taking that stuff, that heavier stuff, the odd size stuff, which ties into the next segment in this week's Weekly Traveler, watch out for oversized bag fees, which will also cost you $200 each way. You only get 63 linear inches. So your height, your width, and your length of your bags, if you measure over 63 inches, they can zing you 200 smackers. So you got to watch out for weight, height. You got to watch out for what you're paying when you check stuff on is a lot of extra cost. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to, some people, they focus so much on the cost of the ticket, they forget about seat assignments, luggage cost, all those things. That's why Southwest Airlines, which we talked about their credit card, doesn't charge for luggage. The bags fly free.
Significant differentiator for them.
You bet. And the other airlines are going one direction. They're staying put with the bags fly free. Yep. So it's been interesting. This week on the Weekly Traveler, we put all the links in there for all the airline baggage fee costs. And you need to probably check online before you head to the airport and make sure you're not going to get zinged with any of those fees when you check them in.
It's never fun to get there, have your bag be overweight, and then all of a sudden you got to pull all your dirty laundry out and shift it from one bag to the next, or figure out what's got to go into your backpack to get home without paying these fees.
So, ladies and gentlemen, before we go, and this is the last time we're going to remind you, try to go online and get apply for that Southwest Airlines credit card to get you the Southwest Companion Pass for free for a whole year. And that's going to go off in a couple days, so you need to make sure you do that right away. And if you can take advantage of 4 or 5 or 6 trips, you'll save a couple $1,000 by doing it. So
it's a good reason to make you want to get out and travel then too. Can maximize that.
I know even today, we're going to meet with our staff later today and go through how they can get that Southwest Airlines pass. We sound like a Southwest commercial here, don't we?
Which we're not.
We're not.
We're not.
No. But we do like to bring to our listeners and our watchers great deals, and this is one of those great deals.
It's one that I don't recall ever seeing before, so might be a one and done deal, so take advantage of it while you can.
And one last warning before we go, we're probably running on overtime, is, Paul, you and I have noticed that we're seeing a stair step in airline prices, and we're seeing that already sneak up on us.
Summer airfares are upon us. Yeah, just yesterday I saw one of our agents booked some business class tickets over to Italy, and they were $7,500 a piece, which, just booking those a month ago, they were at $3,500 a piece. So they're doubling in price, and they're moving quick. So if you're thinking about it, jump on it now.
Thanks for joining us on this week's Weekly Travel Alert. I'm Steve Glenn.
I'm Paul Glenn. Please like, subscribe, share, and insert any questions down below in the comments section so we can make sure that we're hitting on the topics and things that you have questions about in a future episode. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.